André, how are you, my friend? This is André Pereira from Quinta do Montalto in the kind of northern Lisboa area of Encostas Dare DOC. And André, thank you for joining me today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to do this video.
Awesome. So yeah, this is a virtual visit with Quinta do Montalto, where the whole concept we'll kind of talk about the wine, we'll talk or the winery, the estate, the history, kind of where they're located, and then we'll dive into this amazing smattering of wines. There's lots to drink here. It's my 10 a.m. so that and so that I can start my drinking of my day. So Andre, first of all, I want to kind of show some maps about where you're located in Portugal. So if you want to kind of talk while I'm showing some maps,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Quinta do Montalto is located in the North Lisbon wine region, the orange there. It's about 1 hour and a half from Lisbon, and the same distance from Oporto, in a little bit to the north. So quite in the center of Portugal. It's near the town Fatima,
Yeah.
and it's located inside the Encostas da DOC, right there.
Which we'll talk about that DOC because you've had a really amazing
We
crucial
have a
part.
very special wine from that DOC. Yeah.
Cool. And in fact, this is kind of the Vinho Regional of Lisboa. You can kind of see, yeah, Encostas Dara is up on the top.
Yeah.
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 Cool. This is a beautiful shot of kind of the old house. Is this the old family house?
Yes. So I'm the fifth generation there, and it's already the third house. So each generation has been growing a little bit, and it's our like a family house where we get together more often, all the family,
Cool.
and talk about our businesses and family matters.
Awesome. So Andre, what year did Quinto do Montalto start?
We go on paperwork back on 1880. Uh,
1880. Okay.
yeah, so it started as a small parcel of land, and each generation has been growing, adding some land um, to the others. And we have for the area, as I mentioned, that it's not normal. So all the farm is around 50 hectares.
Okay.
50 hectares. We have now 25, 24 of vineyards, and 15 are producing. The others were planted last year.
Oh, okay.
And we have also pine trees, olive oil, vegetable gardens to produce potatoes, all kind of juice. We have a little bit of everything, and we have always a little bit of everything to the family. So and
Cool.
normally we sell what the family does not consume.
Okay. To where do you sell what the family doesn't consume?
Mainly in the vegetable gardens, mainly in Lisbon, where the biggest market is. For also for a few shops
Cool.
locally, but the majority is sold in Lisbon.
Sweet.
But our main priority is the wine and the grapes.
Is the wine? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic. And so, what elevation are you at in Costa
It's
Rica?
around 200 meters.
200
We are
meters.
200 meters from the sea level.
Okay.
Uh, we are quite close to the sea. If you draw a straight line to the sea, it's for 40 kilometers.
40 kilometers. Okay.
40 kilometers. Although um, we are already on a like some sort of a shelf facing the interior of Portugal. So we have some influence from the sea because we are very close. So we can have some moisty mornings and some more moderate climate during summer.
Okay.
Um, but it's because we are already on a shelf facing the interior. We have some influence, but I cannot say that we are an Atlantic
Atlantic
wines
climate.
that all that full acidity that some wines have.
Okay.
But we are not so also from the interior as other regions, the Alentejo or Douro, that have super hot summers.
Right.
So we are in a buffer zone
Cool.
where we can get a cool equilibrium from we can have
From the balance. Yeah.
the both feet one on each side, so it works
Cool.
very well.
And what? So on the property, about 50 hectares, is it all the same soil type? Like, what is the soil there?
It's mainly calcareous clay. I
Okay.
believe that's the term. We have a little bit of sandy soil.
Okay.
It was the bottom of the ocean a few million years ago. We can have some fossils of marine animals. We have that. We saw that when we prepared the vineyards.
Cool.
But it's mainly calcareous, so it's a very poor soil
Okay.
that does not give a lot of production. But we have low production and some freshness and some minerality on our wines that I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it too. We've
Yeah.
every time we visit Andre, he makes, you guys have plenty of wine. What is your total bottle production each year?
Um, it can reach up to 100,000 bottles
Okay, so yeah, not
maximum.
not big,
Yeah.
not big.
No,
But
no, we are quite a small. We have
yeah,
a huge range
yeah, a big
because
range.
I like to do and try new things,
Yeah.
and I like also to have each wine has its own moment. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we have wines that we do 500 bottles per year.
Cool.
Others 20,000 bottles. So it depends, and it's not the same every year.
It always is
We
varying.
don't do the Coca-Cola wine, so
Yeah.
if one year is not great, if the weather it did not help us,
Right.
we will not release the Cepa Pura wines because
Not
those
every.
are only released on super years
Okay.
or the years that we consider that the standard is there.
Okay.
Um, and so we have different profiles of wines fermented in oak, in stainless steel, in amphoras, the medieval wines,
There's so much cool
sparkling
stuff, and
wines.
and that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
we have to import it all because it's so good. So Andre, last thing about kind of the property is, tell me about how you farm. What is the farming practices?
So we started organic in 97. So
1997.
we
Wow.
are 97. We started when no one knew what was organic farming in Portugal. So I'm still one of those that went on local fairs explaining people what was organic farming, the biggest
Cool.
differences from normal farming nowadays. So it was quite a period where we taught a lot in Portugal to the other people. We didn't change a lot in '97.
Okay.
Mainly, we started to fill a lot of paperwork.
You started the process.
All the bureaucracy, it's very big,
Yeah.
and so we don't mobilize the soils. We have always the grass coming up that it's cut or eaten by animals, by chicken, by rabbits. We are doing some experiments on that field, and the grass is cut and leave it there to recycle all the nutrients.
Cool.
Um,
That's awesome.
so we also try to see a little bit of the moon calendar,
Okay.
although we don't follow it because sometimes what it's possible it does not.
It does not line up with the
Yeah,
calendar.
with the stars. But even in the winery for filtering the wine,
Cool.
we try to do when there's no moon at all. The new moon, I think that's the
The
expression.
new, yeah.
So and it works. It works better.
Cool.
So um, on the fields, it's pure organic farming
Great.
because we believe it, and not because it's a passion.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love it. And
it's a
honestly,
way to be on the countryside and a way to produce food for everyone,
yeah,
quality food.
it's sustainable in so many ways. It
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
in every direction. I think it's what I've really loved about Quinta do Montalto and the way you run your winery and the whole project is really, it's inspiring, and it's important. It's important for the people, for the environment, and the wines really show it. It's beautiful.
it's quite easy to do it when you have in mind that there's already a sixth generation there, and you want to leave it, if not the same, a little bit better than we got it. So
Yeah, yeah.
as a family business, we can always look far away and not for the profit this year or next year. So when
Cool.
you have a long-term project, things are much easier. We don't
Yeah,
have that pressure.
it makes your
Uh,
view much longer, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. So let's start talking about wine and all these grapes, because in Portugal everyone knows there's a lot of grapes, a lot of different types of grapes, and you work with a lot of different things, and so I've kind of broken this up in the different ranges that you produce. So we'll start with the Vinha da Malhada. I will kind of drink through them if you want to talk about Malhada.
All right. So Vinha da Malhada, they are always a blend of mainly Portuguese grape varieties. We work mainly with the Portuguese ones, and they are wines that intend to be more fresh, more easy drinking, more direct. So always a blend of mm, the good years that we have.
And what's in the white?
The white is mainly Fernão Pires with a little bit of a Rinch. Uh,
Mm,
the Rinch gives the freshness and the Fernão Pires all the fruit.
yeah,
Yep.
dynamite. In fact, we'll talk about the reds, but this wine is so alive. Like right on the nose, there's a lot of lime, a lot of like that cool citrus, but then kind of green pear, and on the palate, the acidity is huge, and the pear note is strong. Your last name is Pear, Pereira.
Yep. Character, yeah.
Yeah. This is your wine right here. It's so good. And tell me, earlier I kind of had up on the shared screen was these tiles. What is
Yeah,
about the
these
tiles?
tiles, we have them on the farm. On the last renovation of the house in the 60s, there was a fountain that was built under the stairs, and it has a poem from a local poet. And it's been my grandmother loved tiles, so we have a lot of tiles
That was your grandma.
spread out through the property, and those are we use sea creatures on the whites and flowers that we can find it in the interior of the house for the reds.
Cool,
Uh,
cool.
so another red that you are having also a blend of Portuguese grape varieties. It will change from year to year. There's no recipe, even the parcel. So we try to harvest separately, and then we blend it at the end according to our expectations. Um, so no recipe whatsoever, and
And
that's the Reserva. So
Reserva.
in Portuguese, Reserva, it's a standard of quality. Not like in Spain, that it's the amount of time that it ages in wood. Reserva in Portugal is a standard of quality,
Okay.
and those reds are made with more matured grapes that will have a more higher concentration, and it ages in wooden barrels from 6 to 9 months. We always use used wood and new woods to balance. We don't like our wines to be a tea of wood, so we like to use the wood for the micro-oxygenation so that the
Cool.
wine can age well and can breathe slowly. Um,
And are these barriques or bigger?
we have two 25 liters and
Okay.
550 liters.
550.
So
All French
and
oak
it's
or
also French and Americans,
French and
also a
American?
blend.
Okay.
Once more, no recipes. I like to mix everything so it doesn't go on a straight direction to a place, so it
Right.
creates confusion and complexity.
And you said the Malhada red, not the Reserva, is all in stainless steel, correct?
Yes, yes. The blue one, no, not the Reserva, the normal one. It doesn't have any wood, so a note.
For me, the Vinha da Malhada line is one, an incredible value. Like, this is where people think, oh, there's such value in Portuguese wines. This is that. The white has this beautiful freshness, and I like the seafood or the sea creature tiles because it kind of leans that way. And then on the reds, there is this amazing characteristic to it that has like brambly dark fruit, but then also kind of floral tones. I found some white flowers on the whites, but I also find like purple flower on the red, and the freshness in the entry Malhada is so bright, really clean, easy drinking, but deep too. There's a lot of like depth and texture, and it's not just a simple red wine. It actually is. I don't think it's simple. And then, but then when you add the Reserva into the mix, the Reserva it's more serious. It's not quite as vibrant, fresh fruit, but the fruit is there. It's a little bit more like kind of elegant. You can tell its influence in wood, but it's not oaky. Because it definitely you feel that it had that micro oxygenation work, with wood. Um, Really amazing. The texture is so good. I can't tell you that I like one more than the other. I can't say, oh, the Reserva is my favorite, or even the entry level is my favorite. They both give such two different worlds.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
beautiful wines.
No, it's the purpose was that simple but honest wine. So not
Mm,
very cheap wines that everyday wines, but with quality.
with
I
quality.
would say, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, yeah, since we have enough to go through, I'll keep moving forward. But this next wine is purely the most geek out wine, maybe in the whole Bon Vivant portfolio. There's nothing like this on the planet. And it's called Medieval de Ourém Encostas Dare. So this is where the DOC is. This is
Yeah,
what it's all
yeah.
about. And I'll just kind of toot your horn real quick because André is the reason. I mean, he is so crucial in how this even came to be, how it came to start. And I'll let you start talking about it. I want to show a few pictures and then we'll do some videos. But uh, let me pull open the vineyard that this is coming from.
So this is a vineyard that was planted especially to do this wine. when there was no legislation. So let's start with the beginning. So Portugal was born as a kingdom in a small village in the north of Portugal on the 12th century. And when our first king started to conquer lands to the south, spelling the Moorish from the Iberia, Portugal, what is Portugal and Spain today, he would give the lands to the religious orders to get help on the battles. And we got on our region the Cistercian monks from France, very known, and they started to produce that kind of wine, and that's a mixture of 80% white, 20% red, that starts to ferment separately, and almost at the end of the fermentation, the red goes inside the wooden barrel where the white is fermenting. So when Portugal entered the European Union in '86, it became illegal, and that's an absurd because they were forbidding a practice that with more than 800 years old. So it, it was quite stupid. So
Yeah, yeah.
and that was the red wine of the region. So my grandfather only knew how to do that. My uncle also. The first red grapes, the red wines made with 100% red grapes on Montalto on our farm were made on the beginning of the 90s. So red wine, as we know it today, for us, it's us in the Ourém region. It's very recent. So if you
Red
went to
wine. You didn't make
if you went
traditional red wine.
no
It was
since
only
the
this.
12th century.
Wow.
So for us, that was red wine. If you visit some producer or go to a local restaurant and ask for red wine, you would get that.
You get this.
And it has the characteristics of the white and the red. If you are on a blind tasting, you are totally lost,
Totally confused.
totally confused. So and it pairs very well with a lot of local dishes with the Portuguese bacalhau that you had the chance to have when you visited us. It's a perfect pairing. So
Andre makes this incredible bacalhau dish, salt cod dish that is so dynamite with this wine. It's really really cool. And oh, I wish we had all those ingredients here. But
so we try to maintain this tradition that the European Union went tried to stop. Not only the European Union, the Portuguese authorities were also against because everyone said it should go and produce mass markets, produce what the consumer wants, do the Coca-Cola wine, and we always said we don't have conditions to compete. The dimension of our parcels are quite small, so
yeah.
it's nonsense. And above all, we have here something that's unique, and we want to maintain. And so we created an association, VTRA, back then. And after a decade of fighting against politicians, we got the DOC, or the sub designation Medieval de Ourém inside the DOC of Encostas da. And since then, the wine is protected. So the
Cool.
rules to produce it are very narrow. So we can do anything besides that. What the Cistercian monks did it on the 12th century,
Wow.
and at Montalto, at our state, we try to maintain that tradition. And I always try to have a family present when we harvest that wine, so that my children and my nieces and nephew see how it is done. It's
Wow.
something that I want to pass to them. So it's quite a different wine, but it has a lot of meaning for us. And it's even done on a separate winery. So
In that little
um,
room.
in that little room, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I'll.
So Uh, we use the that's the basket press. Unfortunately, we didn't have the old one when I arrived.
Okay,
Uh, the that's a 12 center destemmer. So we put
that's a
the
December.
that's a destemmer. So
Yeah.
we put inside the grapes and we press it as we were washing clothes the ancient way, and the juice and the skins go into the place where they ferment, and the white goes through that wicked basket. That's the image of the destemmer working. So that's quite a journey to the gym. After an hour or so of
I bet.
destemming, you will get very very tired. Um, and the white also goes through the wicket basket, and it's a filter, high tech filter from the 12th century.
Very, very high tech filter of filtration through a wicker basket. I love it.
It works perfectly.
Does it
Uh,
really?
it works perfectly. So then we put the white must inside the wooden barrel, and it's filled up to 80%, and it starts fermenting on its own, spontaneous fermentation, no nothing added. And then we pick up the red grapes. They are destemmed and they stay in fermenting also separately. So when the skins start to come up with the fermentation, we put them down 2 3 times per day with a wooden instrument,
Okay.
and almost at the end of the fermentation, we take the red must with the skins inside the wooden barrel where the white is fermenting, and they stop it fermenting together. So um, and it's a perfect wine.
It's a perfect wine. So I so geek out on this wine because how many cases did you make? We about 100, right?
100 cases. You took
We took
almost everything.
everything. We
Yeah,
yeah. That you probably kept a couple for yourself.
for the family. Yeah.
And so this is a wine that we get 100 cases of for the entire year, and it is 80% Fernão Pires white grape, 20% Trincadeira red grape, coming together to make this gorgeous, beautiful, fresh, so fresh, like bright cherries and raspberries and blueberries, so like the ripest of all of those fruits, but with so much bright acidity. Like you said, if you were to blind taste this, the acidity makes you think white because it has this wonderful
Yeah.
freshness, but the depth and the palate is there. uh, I mean, no, this is against the law in all of the EU until you fought the law and you won.
And
It's
it's
amazing.
only possible in our region, in the Ourém region. It's
Incredible to have 80% and
still
20%.
forbidden to do this mix. We can only do in Champagne because of they don't have
True.
properly red grapes. But
Mm.
it's only on our aim that we can do this mixture because it's against the law.
'Cause it's
But
against the law.
we fought, and
And you won.
hopefully there was one politician that heard us, and now the legislation is there. Unfortunately, when we started the process, we were more than 3,000 producers, small producers, and nowadays we have 4 or 5 producers doing it.
4 or 5 making this Medieval de
Yeah,
Ourém.
yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it's I wouldn't say it's nearly extinct wine, but as long as we are here, and as long as some clients want, this wine will exist.
Cool. I love it. Well, we will definitely always want it because I'm obsessed. I don't care. I'll drink it all. It's so cool. It's so cool. So now, like, it's kind of interesting because we can now talk about this Cepa Pura line, which is all 100%, pure grape Cepa Pura varieties. And the grape that I was just drinking, 80% Fernão Pires, this is now 100%.
Fernão, yeah, yeah. So the Cepa Pura line, or the brand, it's on years that we think that there's the full expression of the grape variety, and it has a certain level of quality that we want.
Okay.
And the Fernão Pires is always fermented in wooden barrels with
Okay.
batonnage, so the lees are stirred regularly, and it ages in the wooden barrel with the lees maximum 6 months. Normally a little bit less, but it also depends on the year. We taste it um, from time to time, and when I think it's done, it's out. So it gives that buttery, full mouth, and the background, all the aromas of the Fernão Pires matured, coming. So a much more serious wine that the Vinha da Malhada.
Yeah, yeah. Very serious wine. And not oaky. So this is old barrels as well, right?
And a few ones also new.
Of new. That's crazy.
But
Wow.
it doesn't have that only wood. So it's we think that we have a good equilibrium, so that the wood does not overcome the fruit of the varieties.
Not at all. It's so driven. It has such beautiful pure fruit. Really like kind of back to that pear, but maybe more ripe pear this time. It's when the
Yeah.
juicy pear, not quite as like underripe where it's a little bit more bright acid. This has nice acidity, but it's really about texture and it's about kind of this long mouthfeel
Yeah.
of beautiful fruit, nice acidity, some minerality in there as well. It's such a cool grape. And 2019 is the current vintage. I mean, all of these are what we have in stock, current vintages, and absolutely dynamite. So
So
I
you
love. Talk to me about the
yeah,
Baga. Yeah,
Baga. I also brought it.
you did. You did.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Baga. It's a grape variety more known on other regions than Lisbon, but it's fully adapted
Yeah,
to.
Baga's up in like Bairrada.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit more to the north in Bairrada, but also a little bit in down for in the interior of Portugal. Um, but I don't like to compare our Baga with the other regions. So we have Baga from Montalto, and it's our Baga, and I don't care if it looks like the other Bagas or not. So um, 17, it was a fantastic year. Although we have a huge production in quantity, the quality was not affected, and I think it's an extraordinary year for the Baga. I'm very happy with this one.
It has so much again texture. There's a creaminess to it that maybe is this made in the same fermented in barrels?
No, it's fermented in stainless steel.
Okay.
The grapes are destamped, and it's fermented in stainless steel, and then it goes to age a little bit on the wooden barrels. Once more, wooden barrels from different sizes, different woods. So
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say there's this creaminess, but it doesn't feel woody. It's not a wood creamy. It's like a that's the grape. The grape has this wonderful, super soft texture. It's kind of spicy. It has this maybe slight herbal quality, kind of this brambly, wonderful kind of boysenberry or like mountain blackberry thing going on with fresh acidity. It is so good. It is such a cool wine. I love it. And and do you so the Aragonéz, is this made in the same way, stainless steel then barrel?
it's exactly the same way. It comes from another site, another vineyard, and it's the same way. Also, stamped, fermented in stainless steel, and then it goes age on the wooden barrels. It's not as delicate on the palate. We can feel much more structure, much more tannins. But it is what it is. It's for another kind of dishes and a different moment. So
Well, and for those of you who may not know, Aragonéz is the same grape as Tempranillo in Spain, and this is so much different than Tempranillo from Spain.
totally different.
Totally different, and even totally different, kind of than the like Tinto Roriz of the north of Portugal that I've had, also being kind of that same grape. It has this amazing attack. The right on the palate, it hits with such vibrant, fresh fruit. It almost has like this sparkle to it without being sparkly. It's has really lively, fresh fruit, more tannin than the Baga, like you said, but not too grippy.
No. Yeah,
Yeah,
smooth at the. It's some round. I would say some round tannins. It does not hurt our mouth. It doesn't take the pleasure away.
doesn't take the pleasure away at all. No, it's
Yeah.
obviously would be really well built for food, especially like a nice grilled steak, because it kind of has some of that bitterness from the wood that would go with the bitterness from a grill, but also this wonderful fruit and tannin to accompany like beef.
Yeah.
Ooh, woo, so good. I love it. I love it. So in Andre's like constant experimentation, there's a new project that he's working on. We're so happy to have it. We don't have much, but we do have some, and because it's a really small production. This is the Anfora de Baco line of wine. Um, let's talk about this because I also have some videos to share.
So Anfora de Baco, or Baco Anfora, started as a shout, as a statement that it would be possible to produce wine like the Romans did it in Portugal 2,000 years ago.
I love it.
So when we a few years ago we created an association to get together all the historical wines of Portugal, and we were the one that were most ahead. So, and with historical wines, we wanted to get together the wines that it doesn't have any sense, economical sense at that time, but it was precious things that should be preserved. And we have the Anfora, we had the Anfora wines. We have from Colares near Lisbon, where the plants are planted in a sandy soil. We have some licorice wine from Açores, one of the islands in Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
and we had the medieval wine. So, but we were the ones that were most ahead on the certification and creating the legislation. So the Anfora producers from Alentejo, or some producers, asked our help to create that legislation, and we help them. But the final version that come out would not forbidden the producers to paint the Anforas inside with epoxy paint, and and I said that that's an absurd. So I saw many producers starting to produce again amphor wines, but painting the amphoras with epoxy dip paint. And I would say that's an absurd, that's stupid. Do it the old-fashioned way. And they
Right.
would say, no, it's not possible. You cannot find the resin. You cannot find who does the amphoras. And after a few years of discussion with a few producers, I asked the family permission to maybe spoil some grapes because I didn't knew what was I was doing.
This might
I
go
read
wrong.
some books, I had some videos, I had some talks, but they said go ahead. So I went to a neighbor to produce the amphoras, and I asked him, give me the biggest amphoras that you can have, but don't paint them because I want to do the old-fashioned way. I want to put the gum resin from the pine trees inside. And the guy made a silence from the other side of the phone and said, "But you know how to do it?" And I said, "I know something. I read a few books. I saw some films." And said, "I used to do that with my father when I was a little boy. I know how to do it, and it would be a pleasure to help you do it." So I went there. He made the Empress. It's baked on a oven that it's heated with wood, firewood, um, and just like in Roman times, um, after the Emperors are baked, we put them upside down with the heat on the inside, so that it gets very high, very hot. Yeah.
So like this.
And we take it out when we can barely touch it, and then we put the hot melted resin inside the amphora that it's already heated, and we roll it on the floor to create a thin layer all around the amphora, because the temperature is not very high, and you must think that the Roman technology in the ovens did not allow the temperature to be that high. The
Mm-hmm.
porosity of the amphora, it's very high. If we didn't do this, all the liquid would go through the walls, and in 2 months the
You'd
wine
have
would
nothing.
disappear. Yeah. So this is everything as the old ones did it, as the Romans did it 2,000 years ago.
Wow.
Um, so that we want
So
to
cool.
recreate and make a statement saying to the producers that it was possible
To do it the old
and
way.
the old way. It's for us. It's been a learning process. 19 is the third year
Third year of the
that
Amphora wine.
third year, yeah, and we are quite happy. And we've already made some experiments comparing the same wine fermented in amphora and in stainless steel and then wood, and it's totally different. It's nothing alike it. So the wines get much more easy drinking, much more fast. Um, it's unbelievable. So at the end of we put the juice and the skins inside the amphoras.
Okay.
Not all the skins. We take out some of the skins.
With both the
Uh,
white and the red.
Both on the white and the red. They
Okay.
ferment in different efforts, but the white is also with maceration, so it has the skins on. And we must sink also the cap that comes up on the during the fermentation. And at the end of the fermentation, the cap goes down. It stays there, and we put olive oil, very good olive oil on
Oh,
the
I
top
forgot to find that
uh,
video. Yeah.
to to create a layer to prevent oxidations.
That's amazing.
So and it stays there for a few months that way, and then we take it out and it goes to the bottle. It's not thin, it's not filtered. It is as natural as it can be.
It's incredible.
And it works very well. So once more, we are not inventing anything like the medieval wine. We are just recreating very old techniques that gives a lot of pleasure for us to do it, but it's also bring us wines that are spectacular, and even if you taste with an open mind, and I don't, people don't have to, they will not find something very different out of the box.
Sure.
There are different wines, but within our standard of tastes in nowadays. So it's perfectly good, perfectly healthy, and interesting to have.
Andre, so the white is Fernão Pires.
100% Fernão Pires, yeah.
It's so cool to taste these like different versions of Fernão Pires, and this is its texture is wildly different.
It has a lot of the skins inside, so
yeah. So it's like this is skin ferment orange wine, even though the skin color doesn't necessarily translate to a dark tone, but so juicy in the mouth while being like it has some freshness, but also has some real depth and terroir. Like I feel this grape still. I sometimes skin ferments can kind of go a little bit like every other skin ferment, but I still am tasting the grape here. And so anyone who's wondering if this pine resin is imparting any flavor, no. The answer is no. I don't get any weird resin, pine, anything. It's just
we went to get a very good pine resin, high quality.
oh yeah,
We
where'd you find
we
that?
knew I'm the fifth generation in wines, but the fourth generation in pine tree
I love it. I love it. It's so
business.
cool.
So I knew what I was asking to the family. I didn't thought that would come up so good, but and I'm very happy that since we started to do that 3 years ago, the producer has many orders of other producers asking them to do amphoras. He's already making bigger amphoras. He must
Really?
grow a little bit more, but he must gain confidence. I think he will get there with time. But I'm very happy that many producers started to reaching out to him, asking for coating their efforts with a natural pine tree resin. So and start to do the proper way. So
So cool. It's like everything you're doing is just inspiring and exciting and fresh and cool. Real quick, what are the red grapes on the
it's Aragonéz and Trincadeira, 50-50.
Aragonese Trincadeira 50/50?
Yeah, 50-50.
This wine is dynamite. It has it has everything I want in red wine. It has so much freshness and so much depth, both at the
Yeah.
same time while keeping my mouth watering, but also puckering, but also very satisfied. This is delicious. Good work on these.
I
Such cool
think
wine.
I think 19 was we did it again on the Anfora wines, so I'm very happy.
Wow, so cool, Andre. Um, before we go, um, I want to bring up one thing because by the time you might be watching this video, we now have Quinta do Montalto box wine in 3 liter box. I want to show this picture. Just this is basically a white blend and a red blend of lots of different grapes. The white again was
It's mainly Syria and Fernão Pires. It has a little bit of rabo de ovelha e
cool.
olho de lebre. Sorry for the names, but the Portuguese names.
No,
And the red, it has a lot of different from Trincadeira, Aragonês, Toriga Nacional,
all of them.
Baga, all of them. Yeah. So
Cool.
very direct, simple wines, everyday wine, but with
So
extreme pleasure.
so delicious.
Yeah.
This is the very first box wine we will import as Beaumont imports, and I can't be more excited because the wine is so delicious. It's certified organic. The price is right. You know, you're going to have it on the shelf at the right place. And we do have samples coming, correct, of the bottles of. There's
Yeah,
some.
yeah.
So I'll have samples of this wine bottled so that I can get that out to you so you can see what it's like. But Andre, thank you. These wines, your story, your history, your entire project is so amazing, and I just want you to know that we're really thrilled and just honored to be able to import your wines. Thank you for joining us. And
With my pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you and talk about the Montalto and our wines. Yeah.
It's awesome. Thank you, Andre. Take
Thank
care,
you
my
very
friend.
much.
Bye.
Bye.